Summer vacation season fully underway. We're in July already, and yes, the live stream is on the road today from beautiful, and I mean absolutely beautiful Lakes region of New Hampshire. Live free or die, baby. I'm in Lake Winnipesaukee. Beautiful lake views I'll try to get you tomorrow, but for right now, this nice little conference room will work. But anyway, the Wicked Radio live stream is on the way, and thanks for being here. And if you're an audio podcast listener, you're like, I don't care, just make it sound good, dummy. And speaking of that, thanks for the downloads on the audio podcast. Just look for Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams, where the live stream is every day, and some extra stuff too. And if you're just watching this on the replay a little bit later on X or on the social media channels, make sure you put a follow on there. Notifications on too, so you know when we're going live and other stuff too. Well, first of all, a little vacation travel update. It's as busy as you can imagine. I was in a couple of different airports yesterday, getting up here, Florida and New England, and Logan we actually flew into. And it's as busy as you expected for this week. It's a busy travel vacation week. And like we said, I kind of talked about this yesterday, gas prices on average, maybe different here and there, depending on what market you're talking about. Gas prices on average, lowest since 2021. So a lot of people are driving as well. We're back, baby. But it's going to be packed. Not a lot of people in the office today. Don't expect a lot of productivity, but that's all right. We got a lot to talk about today. First of all, amazing story of the hero Disney cruise ship dad who jumped overboard. I'm sure you heard about this by now. But of course, people are bitching about it. Of course they are. Also, Elon's pissed, but so is Trump. And Elon's threatening action over the big beautiful bill because it's just raising the debt. Really, this is about the EV mandate. He's mad, and I even think embarrassed about that. But now Trump struck back at him this morning, back and forth. It's the same thing that happened a few weeks ago. They both want the best thing for the country, I'm sure, and their individual companies. That's okay, too. They're never going to be best of friends. I think it's okay, though. I think it's okay because they have a common goal in mind. We'll talk about that as well. And little update, speaking of Trump, he is scheduled to arrive in Florida today. Maybe if you're watching or listening to this later on, he's already done it. He will be for the grand opening. Open for business in the middle of 110 square miles of creeping death. Alligator Alcatraz is open back home in Florida. It's unbelievable. And the reaction to this has been incredible. As you can well imagine, of course, the meltdown, the liberal meltdown on TikTok is just as juicy as you would imagine. But anyway, we'll get to all that stuff. All right, let's talk about this story. Here's the background. You probably heard about the Disney cruise ship dad already. I heard about it. We were sitting on the tarmac leaving PBI yesterday from West Palm Beach, sitting next to my daughter, getting the Wi-Fi going. No, you're getting ready for the flight, getting ready, whatever it is. I'm sitting next to my older daughter, who's 23, and she goes out of nowhere, because I hadn't heard about the story yet. I guess it just broke yesterday when we were busy traveling. She goes, Dad, yeah? If I fell overboard on a cruise, would you jump in to save me? Me being a wise ass, of course, I said, kind of depends what deck we're on. Just my parenting style. Don't get mad. I said, no, of course, honey, I would. Why? What the hell? Why are you talking about this? And why? You seem kind of upset about this. Why? And then she went on to tell me the story that happened on Sunday. This dad heroically jumps off apparently the fourth deck, I believe, of a Disney cruise ship because his daughter had fallen overboard to get her. I'll get more details on that in a second. Here's my daughter was kind of twisted off about it. And it's kind of funny to see your kids go through this when they start to read people's reactions, when they start to become fully aware of how ridiculous people can be. She goes, and all I'm seeing online, and again, this is a 23-year-old's social media. She says, all I'm seeing online are people complaining about the guy. Before we get into that, let's get into some background because it is an amazing story in many different ways. So the little girl, she's basically like a little toddler. She's like 3, I think. She fell overboard. This all happened on Sunday, and the news is out now that everybody's okay. That's the good thing. It could have been tragic. He apparently had to tread water. Get this. I asked myself the same question you're probably thinking right now. I don't think I could do it. He had to tread water for 20 minutes while holding on to her before the lifeboat showed up. And all the witnesses who said they saw this thing happening. If you've ever been on a cruise ship or watch one from afar, it looks like they're barely moving, right? They are flying as far as nautical terms go. So very quickly, something stationary in the water turns into a little tiny dot. That's how far away it goes. So that explains the 20 minutes before the boat had to go around, the rescue boats got to him, whatever. But he got to her. That's the amazing thing before we get to the so-called controversy over this. Here are some passengers who saw the whole thing go on, and of course it's all on cell phones, but they explained the whole situation. And it's interesting because it's a family cruise. A lot of the witnesses were worried about the mom, back on board on this. But here's what some of the people said.
And I just saw her crying, and I just felt for her at that moment. And I just started praying.
That was a very heroic thing that he did.
Everyone was cheering on the ship, and the quick response of Disney made a big difference.
Yeah, that's, Disney's like, whew, everybody's okay. We're not going to get sued to the hilt now, yet, anyway. No, those are people who witnessed it, right? They witnessed the dad jumping overboard. They saw the action. They were just happy. There was mass cheering on board. You probably saw some of the videos. There was everybody had gone to that side of the ship to see what's going on, and they were all excited. And he did. He rescued her. Heroic dad, right? Incredible feat of strength and courage. We all like to think, all of us dads, all parents would like to think we would do the same thing. We'd like to think that. I would hope that I would too in the moment. And I think a lot of us would. Dad power, baby. Now, here's the controversy. Of course, because of course people are bitching about it. But this is a little complicated because at first you're thinking, well, how'd this happen in the first place? It's almost tough to fall overboard on any cruise ship. I mean, it's like if you've ever been on, and this was a Disney cruise. I've never been on a Disney cruise, but I've been on almost every other cruise line. There's plexiglass up on the thing so you don't do this, so you don't fall. Well, this was an area where there was just a railing, and I don't think it was I think it was right by the lifeboats anyway. Here's what people are saying. He had positioned her up on the railing to take a family photo, and that's when she fell off. Stupid move? Absolutely. I'm sure this guy, whenever he talks, if he talks, he'll say the same thing. Stupid move, and that's how she fell over. It was risky. It was dumb. It's almost hard to do that because you would have to go out of your way to do a stupid thing. But it happened. So people are... My daughter was on the plane showing me some of the comments. I said, oh my God, yeah, this is good. Of course, people key in on the controversy, not the heroic act. They're saying he made up for it, but he never should have been in that position in the first place. And really, he should... I saw some comments where it said he should face some charges. Can't we... Okay, can we all just agree that it was a stupid move and Dad shouldn't have put the kid in that position in the first place for the family photo, for the Instagram shot or Facebook or TikTok, whatever it was? Can we just get over that and acknowledge that it's a stupid thing that he did? Let's focus on the heroic act. This guy jumped overboard from a cruise ship, tread water for 20 minutes and saved his daughter. Can we concentrate on that part of things? Because that's pretty amazing. But no, of course, there's got to be a non-controversy as people try to get clicks and attack the guy. But whatever. I don't know. You know who's the biggest winner in all of this, believe it or not? Not only the little kid, Disney. The last thing in the world they wanted was for this not to go that way. Because it would have gone that way if this guy didn't jump overboard. So, okay, let's acknowledge the stupid move on the dad's part. But while we're doing that, can we also acknowledge that this was an incredible act of courage and strength? I think we can handle it, can't we? All right. It's kind of a feel-good story, I guess, except for the controversy part of it. Let's get to the ridiculous world of politics, the endless sea of turmoil. Elon and Trump are fighting again. Elon's all pissed off, and he's threatening to primary any member of Congress that voted for the big, beautiful budget bill. And because here are his reasons. Because it does essentially not much at all to cut down on the national debt. And he's right about that. They're both right. He's right because it is going to kill us. We're in a debt spiral. And when it went to the Senate, before this thing gets fixed up back in the House, if it does, it adds a whole lot more pork. It's like proof positive. Here's the takeaway, that the lobbyists and the special interest groups still run Congress, which means they're running the country. And it's scary and it's terrible. He's also, from Elon's point of view, he's also upset that the electric vehicle, the EV mandate, is not in it. Okay, I get that. He's upset about the pork. He's upset that the Doge cuts that they worked really hard on are still working hard on, his team, were kind of ignored for the most part. Some of them will get through, whatever, in its final passage, whatever it is. For Trump's part, he's saying that this electric vehicle mandate was never in it, and he told Elon that, blah, blah, blah. And now Trump's striking back. Okay, well, let's just get to the war of words, because nobody seems to talk in Washington anymore. It's all through social media, kind of like regular people, right? Let's just go through the timeline for a second. From Elon's part, what he's threatening is, and this is how it all started off, if this insane spending bill passes, oh boy, the America Party will be formed the next day. I'm sorry, what? Yes, he's going to form the third party, which he says is wanted and needed in this country. Our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican uniparty so that the people actually have a voice. And then he went on. He was on a post-storm all last night. What's the point of a debt ceiling if we keep rising it? All I'm asking is we don't bankrupt the country. Hitting the debt ceiling is the only thing that will actually force the government to cut waste and fraud. On and on. He's upset. So's Trump. Trump took to Truth Social, of course. I'm not going to read the whole thing for you because that would be just... And by the way, for a live stream podcast, talking about debt is kind of a boring thing. What's interesting is the reaction and where we go from here. Trump on Truth Social threatening to unleash Elon Musk's own Doge department, unleashing Doge against Elon's companies. Imagine that for a second. And by now, we all know Trump and we know he's capable of it. Here's a little bit of the quote. Elon knew long before he so strongly endorsed me for president that I was strongly against the EV mandate. It's ridiculous. It was always a major part of my campaign. Electric cars are fine. Not everybody should be forced to own one. Here's the weird thing. A lot of us agree with both of them, right? This debt ceiling, the debt we're under, it's not survivable down the road. It's just not. Something has to be done to cut this. And maybe there's a plan, maybe there's not. I don't know. Also, there's a lot of good things in this big, beautiful budget bill. One big, beautiful bill, Trump calls it. There's a lot of good things. There's a section in there to secure elections, secure the border, finish the wall funding. It makes the Trump tax cuts permanent. All good stuff, but there's a lot of crap in there too. Because, again, special interest groups, lobbyists, members of Congress who are just bought and sold for by big companies. That's all part of it too. So they're both right in a way. But again, like when this popped up 3 weeks ago when the big fight was happening. Oh no, it's the MAGA breakup. Look, it's politics, guys. And this is the mindset you and me, normal people have to have with this. It's always going to be this endless turmoil, even with the people that you like. But here's what's different this time with these two. And I'll say the same thing I said 3 weeks ago. It's not the worst thing in the world that they both are fighting over this, unless it goes, full nuclear between the two of them, because they both want the same thing. And I think that's important to keep in mind. Both of these two, both Trump and Elon, both alpha personalities in different positions, are fighting for the best for the country. They want what's best for the country. And that's not always the case with Washington's swamp politics. But these two both do. So I still think there's hope there that they can find some kind of common ground because they want the best for the American people. That's not always the case, and it is still unique. Here's the other thing, though. I don't hang out with a lot of billionaires. Got a pretty good feeling that you don't either. But here's what you and I both know. If there's one thing that billionaires hate, people at that kind of level, and it's a small circle. They all know each other, and it's a very small world. Just look at the Jeff Bezos wedding here recently. They were all there. They don't like to be embarrassed. And I think just reading the tea leaves, just being a regular person looking at this, as much as Elon and Trump have been in the news for the past few years, doesn't it seem like Elon's embarrassed in a couple of different ways? The EV mandate, which he wanted very, very badly for Tesla, and he thinks it's important for energy production for the country going forward. And using Doge to go after Elon's companies, boy, wow. Even threatening that is a major blow to the ego. I mean, think about these guys. He's pissed, and so is Trump. The hope is, and the takeaway, and something really important not to forget about, though, is they both want the best for the country. So they don't have to be best buddies. This is what we learned a few weeks ago. They don't have to be. But there's still plenty of common ground to find. That's my takeaway anyway. That's my hope anyway. So we'll see. As it stands right now, that one big, beautiful bill, as Trump calls it, I guess it's stalled. They're hammering out things. There's more, politicians putting more pork in it, and then they're trying to fight that. It's getting exposed, blah, 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 on and on and on. The swamp is the swamp is the swamp. But this was an interesting thought. If this thing passes before or on, how about that, Friday, 4th of July, I didn't even think about this possibility till I heard this guy. I think Benny Johnson, the great podcaster, he was talking to Hogan Gidley. Now, this character was a White House staff member in the first Trump administration. I think he was in the I'm pretty sure he was in the communications department. He said something awesome yesterday, a great idea. And you know what? I could totally see this happening. If this thing gets signed, or is ready to pass, I should say, before the 4th of July, couldn't you see Trump using this as a posturing visual as he's signing it with literally with the fireworks going off in the background on the 4th of July in the White House or on the South Lawn of the White House? Here's what Hogan Gidley said, and it's a great idea, and I think he's exactly right.
Party at the White House on July 4th on that South Lawn, he's going to do something big around that bill. I could see him signing it just hours before the fireworks, or maybe even during the fireworks, because he understands the aesthetic.
It's true too. He understands the aesthetic. Let's not forget, for a matter of fact here, in the background of Trump is he's a marketer. He totally understands the aesthetic and how things look. How amazing would that? How much of a win, especially now with this beef with Elon going on? How much of it would it be a win for Trump's sake to sign this thing on America's birthday with all the pomp and circumstance around it? It looks like the biggest win of all time. He very well could do it. That's why he wants this thing passed. That would be amazing. You got to credit him for that. Speaking of the visual, speaking of the aesthetic, and speaking of Trump, all these things come together. Now, this may have already happened if you're listening or watching this later on, but as of this morning, as of Tuesday morning, Trump is expected to make a visit for the grand opening of Alligator Alcatraz. I was talking about this yesterday. The holding facility that DeSantis loves. He's so proud of this. In the middle of the Everglades in Florida, surrounded by alligators, an ice holding facility for people who are about to be deported. But it's a holding facility they can't escape from. Trump's supposed to be there as of right now. Let's see. Now, here's the great thing. The other update on this is just think about the name. Talk about aesthetic and marketing. Alligator Alcatraz. Come on. Even if you don't like the whole concept of this, that's pretty amazing. So, yesterday the news got out and it got into social media world. And you can imagine the liberal meltdown about Alligator Alcatraz on TikTok, of all places. I literally looked it up, put in that hashtag, and to try to see some of the videos and the meltdowns over it, and they were exactly as you can expect. I just cherry-picked this one. Here's this one girl in her car, of course, which is where they do all their videos. Here's her description of Alligator Alcatraz.
I will be in jail if I see somebody wearing an Alligator Alcatraz shirt or any type of merch. It is a concentration camp. And using that language matters.
It's a concentration camp. And by the way, I didn't even think of it till she said it. Of course you got to see people walking around with Alligator Alcatraz shirts. They're probably being printed up right now. They're probably out there already. And bumper stickers and posters. God. It's a concentration camp. Yeah, okay. That's not an overreaction at all. All right. I'm out of material. I'm going to get down to that lake. I'm going to try to give you a visual of a beautiful Lake Winnipesaukee tomorrow. I'll post some still shots and videos, whatever, even if I don't get there for the live stream tomorrow. But I'll be here tomorrow in the granite state. Live free or die. The main takeaway, number one, with that incredible Disney dad story going overboard, you don't have to find controversy even when somebody makes a mistake. Let's focus on the positive. This guy did an amazing, heroic thing. Can we at least take that away from that story? And this whole Trump-Elon beef, it's not all bad because they have the best interests for the country in mind. Remember that too. Here's another thing. On July 1st, that means only 6 months left in the year. Time now. Even if 2025 has been crappy for you, time now to make the year awesome. Make today awesome too. And if you're traveling, bring your patience. It's thick and heavy out there. All right, that's it for me. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Don't forget the audio podcast right there wherever you like to get your audio podcasts, every single platform. Just look for Wicked Wisdom with Bill Adams. The live stream and some other stuff is there every day. And the other social media platforms too. If you're watching this later on X, make sure you follow, put your notifications on. I appreciate you as always. And make it a great day. It's only Tuesday too. Make it a wicked awesome one. We'll talk to you tomorrow.